everybody, this is Rhys Barber from Audiology Associates. Thanks very much for watching that earwax removal video today. Oh my goodness, this was such a tough one to do. This lovely guy came through. Basically, he's been getting a lot of discomfort in his ears, a lot of reduced hearing, so his partner's been noticing he's been turning the TV up, lots of different things going on here. So when we initially take a look in this ear, now this gent has come through to see some other audiologists as well, and they'd attempted this but hadn't got it out. So they came across to see us today. When you take a look at this wax, I can see why people have been struggling before we got to it. It is such a difficult position. It's very, very deep. It's solid as a rock, and it's actually sloped up onto the eardrum as well, which means it's really, really sensitive in that particular part of the ear. So a lot going on here. Plus it's dried and stuck to the canal wall as well. So what you can see I've done first of all is just piled loads of olive oil into this first of all, and that's going to help to try and sort of loosen it and impregnate into the surface, but it's not really budging with the suction. So we've got the Rosen inserter in here now, very delicately just sneaking over the top of this wax, because there's a tiny gap between that and the actual eardrum itself, just to try and bring this forwards. Unfortunately, this gent has been using olive oil for about 3 weeks before they came through to us, and it's still solid like this, but it means it's impregnated into those thinner pieces at the top of that slope. So as we get the Rosen inserter behind, what it's doing is effectively breaking through because it's not solid enough to fold this forwards. So I'm trying to hold on to the wax here and just very, very gently wiggle it back and forth to try and loosen it off the base of the canal, because it is wedged and stuck on all sides here. Now you've always got to be really, really careful with this particular, when wax is this deep in here, because it's so uncomfortable. If you press against it or really kind of push it, the patient really feels it. You could see there, I literally just moved a bit on the side and the patient flinched a little bit. So we're just going to use the crocodile forceps here just to grab this leading edge. Now what I've done with this video, there's a lot of kind of maneuvering around in here. So I've kind of simplified this down. I've taken a lot of the bits out, just as moving little pieces around. So it's quite more of a concise video for you to watch, otherwise it would have been really, really long. So I've just loosened this side section. I'm going to use the suction now to try and lift this and kind of draw it across the wax. What I'm trying to do here is take away these side pieces that are adhering to the canal wall, and that way then we can spin this. You can see I'm kind of folding these sides in, and with a lot of these very deep and impacted wax issues like this particular gents, there is a lot of kind of switching between tools a lot, repositioning with one tool to give you a better grip or a better position for another tool going in. You can see it was starting to mist up a little bit. We've got a little bit of haze coming on there as well. So back in now, we've loosened the edges. Let's try again now with the Rosen inserter. Very, very delicately. You can see it's starting to move. It's starting to loosen this top section. There we are, all just starting to fold forwards a little bit, but still very, very brittle. What I'm hoping, you might see the camera moving a little bit because I'm talking to the patient. The patient's replying to me, so the rear canal's flexing a little bit while we're talking to them. But we're just loosening these edges. Now there we go. We've got a little piece starting to come away there. So we're starting to break this down. It's starting to come away. And we're hoping we're going to get this away. It's probably not going to look too pretty behind all of this, because obviously this has been sort of wedged in there for a long time. And there's probably a lot of dead skin behind this, I'd imagine. So I'm just trying to lift from the base again. There we go. Can you see that little tiny bit of movement? It's coming away from the edges a little bit now. There we go. You can actually see where it was completely solid. Now we're starting to see little pieces flexing and moving with the movement of the suction there. There we are, that bottom section. Now look at how that is really starting to come away. The patient really didn't hold much faith that we'd be able to get this out, because they'd had a couple of sort of attempts at it and it hadn't budged before then. But you can see now we're really getting into this side piece, how it's unsticking from the canal wall. So imagine you've got this tube. So you've got this tube here and it's stuck here, here and here, and resting. do it the other way, and resting against the eardrum back there. So we just managed to move that edge now. We're just grabbing this looser pieces off the side. I'm hoping if we can hold on to some of these tougher side pieces that we can actually twist the wax away from the eardrum a little bit, which is going to help me to get a little bit more movement in there with the tools. I've popped a little bit of sodium bicarbonate. You don't see us use sodium bicarbonate very often. Just watch this bit though. As we start to pull this, I will go back to the sodium bicarbonate, I promise. There, did you see that top section just fold away from the eardrum? Now the patient himself said, something moved and I felt it move, and we just managed to get that top section away. So we're just going to loosen this side bit up. Sodium bicarbonate, we use olive oil a lot because we want to keep the sort of structure of the wax and just soften the surface and help it to slide. But in this case, this wax is so old and so hard that the olive oil hadn't impregnated into it. So I've upped it a little bit and put a bit of sodium bicarb. We don't use it too often because some people can have a little reactions to it. So I've just upped the sodium bicarb a little bit. And what that does, it just loosens and just breaks the wax down a little bit, makes it a bit softer. Now we've got this leading edge. You can see just at the top here, look how this now has become a lot looser now. Can you see it's really starting to move? So a mixture of the drops and just working with these different tools has loosened this section up. It's gone a little bit misty because obviously as we moved that forwards, we really saw this sort of warm, humid air in there. It's just sort of covering the lens a little bit. We will take it out in a second and give it a bit of a clean. But I just wanted to get this piece moved. While I had a bit of movement there, I didn't want to come away and take the tools out and just clean them off just a second, just because I really wanted to get this piece moving away and down the canal as far as I can first, and then go back to it again. There we are. Now we're really rolling this. You can see it's starting to really come away from that eardrum. Back in with the Rosen insert. We've got a tiny little gap over the top. I didn't want to risk pushing it back in with the Jobson horn. Rosen insert is such a thin end on there, really easy to go over the top. There we go, and out that comes. Look at that piece there, and that is the majority of the slope there. I think there is some bits, yeah, there's some left at the bottom. So now we can see the top of the eardrum. You can see it looks very red, irritated, aggravated at the top of the canal wall there. So we're just going to tidy up this bottom section here. Now don't forget, this is where the wax has been stuck to the canal wall. So if you remember from previous videos, we tell you about how the skin migrates laterally, it moves down the canal. I've got a really interesting one to show you on Wednesday about that one as well. But it's all coming away, Wednesday. So it's all coming away there, that piece of skin. But what we're left with then is this thin layer of sort of dead skin, which is very, very deep. Now, bless him, the patient had sat through so much already, and they were really starting to feel quite tender by this point in this particular part of the ear. So I'm just going to do a quick little tidy up just to get these sort of bigger pieces of skin away. But what I've asked the patient to do then is to come back to us in about sort of 8 weeks time, and we'll just take a look in there, make sure everything's looking nice and healthy, and we'll remove anything else. Gives that skin just a chance to repair itself, gives this deeper skin here that's still a little bit attached to the skin underneath time to migrate out of the ear canal as well. So I'll just tidy up some of these edges here. You can see the patient's really talking to me now. Very pleased to get this out. Now, these particular sections here at the base of the canal, we know that's really sensitive anyway, but that's the bit the patient was really starting to feel a little bit tender with. So I'll just take this piece away here from the side. Let's see if I can get some of the looser stuff away. There you can see I'm just hovering there. See that little jump then? The patient really starting to feel that section. So this is the eardrum here, you can see. This is the plug, so this is what was sitting really deep inside the patient's ear canal. So 1.5 centimeters, 3/4 of an inch. And that wax, I'm no word of a lie, is just so tough. It's like a stick or a stone. It was absolutely solid. And you imagine that pressing against all those really sensitive parts of the ears. But patient very, very happy to get that out. So there we are. So guys, thank you very much for watching that video today. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did voicing it over. I'll see you again on Wednesday. Like I said, we've got another skin one for you on Wednesday. It's a bit more of an unusual one for you to take a look at as well. So make sure you stay tuned for that one. But as always, guys, take care of your ears, take care of yourselves, and take care of one another. And I shall see you again real soon. Bye, everyone.